All right, let's go. So, welcome to eCom Raw Reality, episode 47, where we talk all things e-commerce, Shopify, Facebook ads, Google ads, email marketing. And in this one, I want us to talk about building a brand, more specifically, building an e-com brand and how it does take time. And this is basically a reminder for anyone who builds a brand or who works with e-com brands that things take time and they actually get better the more time you give them. And I'm also saying this because, as you might know, dropshipping is a thing, right? And the thing with dropshipping is that you don't really build a brand, right? That's why branded dropshipping exists out there. But with dropshipping, usually, like the old model was to find something that works, push it as much as possible, create cash flow, then leave it, right? And that's it. And the issue with that is that it doesn't build anything long term. And you also always hope for like a one hit wonder, right? And this is just like with building a YouTube channel, right? You try out different topics just to find out what works, and then if something works, you push it. But the thing is that probably you are not even that interested in it. So the question is, will you actually continue doing that even when it will get like boring or hard, or you just won't have that motivation each and every day if it's not something that you're passionate about to some extent, right? And that's why dropshipping isn't necessarily something that you'll see anyone be rich from, right? Like, I mean, they could become millionaires and so on, which is rich to some extent, although the question is, what do they do after, right? Because I mean, you would still have to do something in order to preserve your wealth. Otherwise, like, you'll just burn through it. And the thing with e-commerce brands, and this is why I want to make this video about building anything for the long term, but even when it comes to personal brand, even when it comes to e-commerce brands, you would want something that you can shape to some extent from the beginning, right? Because it's not impossible. More or less, you can think, all right, this is what I'm kind of passionate about, or this is my mission, and this is what I'll stand for. It doesn't mean it might not change slightly, but still, it's not like there's anything new that's going to come up, right? I mean, there are people out there right now who are building an olive oil brand, right? Nothing new. I mean, basically the same thing that someone 100 years ago was consuming in south of Italy, right? Nothing new. It's mostly the mission, the brand, the angle that it comes with, right? That's the actual difference. And it's the same with any e-commerce brand out there, because the thing is, with dropshipping, you acquire a customer and they only come for that one product, and then most dropshippers don't do anything, right? While with a brand, basically what you actually want to do is have a product so good or so well marketed that more and more people will buy. And the thing is that it will be so good that some people will recommend it to their friends, or just try to refer other people if there's some kind of incentive program, right? And even affiliates and so on. Like, there are more tactics that you could do, right? But if you have a product that is solid, that is a good product, basically, right? That's one of the most important things. It should be good. I would say very, very good, or like exceptional if possible. But after all, it's still about marketing, right? Like, anything can be sold at a much higher price just if the marketing is right. For example, same with services. I could have a retainer for 2K, I could have a retainer for 5K, I could have a retainer for 10K. It depends mostly on the actual brand, for example, in this case, if they can actually afford it, if they are at that level, but also the perceptual value and how, for example, I would sell it, how I would present it. So it's the same with physical products, with e-commerce. That's why you'll pay for some pens maybe not even $1, and for some you might pay 100, right? And that's the pen that you'll use to sign documents. That's how your brain will actually think of it. This is a pen just for important products and so on, right? And that's how you actually build a brand. And coming back to the tactics and so on, right? Because the thing is that if you try to build a brand, you can also build, let's say, loyalty, because someone knows if they buy now, they will see you in the future here as well. They will maybe buy other products from you if you plan to release multiple ones. Ideally, that's the goal for any brand out there. For example, you have your hero product, and then maybe you have, let's say, accessories for it. It depends a lot on what kind of products. But let's say if you sell a drink, you can sell it with multiple flavors. If you sell apparel, you can sell it with different colors, different sizes, of course, for every person. Then if you sell, let's say, jewelry, silver, gold, something that's cheaper, something that's more expensive. So you can play around with all of those, and almost any brand can have multiple products. Even with personal brands, you can have like your low ticket, you can have your mid ticket, your high ticket, your one-to-one, and so on. So as you can see, there's a spectrum here. And the thing that becomes easier over time, even though it takes time, but the thing is that you get visibility. And just like with Nike, everyone knows the branding, everyone recognizes the logo. The thing with Nike is that you know them already. And are you going to buy one tomorrow? Maybe, maybe not. Are you going to buy one next month? Maybe, maybe not. But the main point here is the following, that when you'll need shoes, you'll think of some brands, and Nike will definitely be one of them at that point. If it will be the one that you buy, that's dependent on many other things, right? It's also dependent on the quality, on the reviews that they have, on other people actually mentioning it, promoting it, offering good, let's say, reviews about it, or of course about the brand tone and voice at that point. Because for example, Nike is different at different times during the decades, right? Because it's an old brand. But one of the things with such bigger brands is who are they actually related to in terms of like athletes? Because as we know, a brand like Nike is in the athletes category. They sponsor a lot of athletes. So the thing is, if they sponsor LeBron James and you are a person of color, right, you are more likely to actually buy. And that's pretty normal, because for example, if I would see someone like an athlete with glasses, I would relate more to them. And let's not forget, relatability is a thing. And that's why family usually matters to some extent, right? Because like, you know, they have your DNA. You know, they actually look like you, and it's not an accident. But even if someone will look like you and they wouldn't have your DNA, there will still be some connection there. If someone has your name, you will already feel some kind of connection, right? And I mean, there are multiple things that could actually create this associations, these connections. And with a brand, this is one of the beauties with it long term. You can try out different things. You can find out what works by testing all the time. But for example, if you have different products that you test, like a dropshipper, and then you try different angles, then you don't really build a brand, because you're just trying to find something that works, right? While for example, if you know after doing a lot of research that a product is good, is exceptional, other people are making money with it, they maybe haven't innovated in a while, maybe they don't even have a brand voice, right? That's when you know that all you have to do is just make sure that you find the right angle, that you market it. And it's more or less just like with making YouTube videos. If you know something, you don't have to be the best. You never have to be the best, and you would still have success or let's say gather an audience, it's still about relating and finding the people that you can relate with. And I just realized that I don't have much battery on my microphone here, and I guess that was the alert here that I'm over 10 minutes. But this is mostly a reminder that things take time, because even when you advertise, this is what I'm doing most of the time: advertising, online advertising, ad spend, paid ads, Meta, Google, and others. And I always remember that, for example, if you pay for advertising, some people won't buy it right away. You'll have a shitty ROAS. But long term, let's not forget that you paid for 10,000 impressions maybe, right? And even though just one person from those 10,000 bought, you still had those impressions that eventually might see you again and again and again. And that's when they might actually buy. That's why it's really important to always be out there, to spread your message, and you also get respect as a brand, but also as a person, if you put things out there that are always congruent and that also are, I would say, in the best interest of everybody, right? I mean, you also feel better when you know that you're actually selling something or saying something that can have a positive impact. So we'll end it with that, just because I can't find better words than that. And if you haven't watched any of the previous videos or next videos, if you're watching this later, then I would suggest doing so if you find any interesting. And until next time, peace out.